Straight ahead on WBKB, a new population is eligible for the COVID-19 vaccine.
Plus, what to do if you're a victim of unemployment insurance fraud, and an update on the Alpena Township Fire Department.
You're watching Thunder Bay News Network. WBKB News at 6 starts now.
This is WBKB News at 6. An in-depth look at news, weather, and sports. From hard-hitting news stories to local events, we're there with coverage you can count on. You're watching WBKB News at 6.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Sherry Stewart.
And I'm Tyler Cruz. The Michigan Department of Health and Human Services is expanding their vaccine eligibility beginning next week. The Health Department says starting Monday, March 8th, those over 50 living with disabilities, medical conditions, caregiver family members, and guardians for children with special needs can be vaccinated. Starting March 22nd, anyone 50 or older will be eligible to receive the COVID-19 vaccine. And a quick update on the homebound vaccines for Alpena County tomorrow. Please call the Alpena Health Center's COVID line. With any questions, we have more details on both of these stories on our website.
U.S. Senator Gary Peters says the American Rescue Plan will provide immediate relief to Michigan families. Key points of the package call for $1,400 stimulus checks and funding to accelerate vaccine distribution. Fewer Americans, however, will receive a stimulus check this time around.
And it was determined based on those income levels, we would still deal with the vast majority of folks in the state of Michigan. But folks at the very high, who are earning very high income and are doing well, they do not need the $1,400 stimulus payment as other families do.
And a compromise deal with moderate Democrats, President Biden narrowed the income eligibility. Single filers earning more than $80,000 will not receive a stimulus check. Neither will couples earning over $160,000, nor will a head of household earning more than $120,000 be eligible. Senator Peters says Congress hopes to move the bill out of the Senate by this weekend.
Yeah, we'll be watching the Senate for updates on that. A group of job creators have formed the Reopen Michigan Safely Coalition, pressing the governor to end the office ban. The coalition was started by the Michigan Chamber of Commerce. The state's current safety rules prohibit in-person work to the extent that activities can be completed remotely. These rules expire in April. Coalition members cited increased vaccinations and declining COVID positive rates in their call for employees to return. Leaders also said that restaurants and retail stores in business districts would benefit from a safe return to work.
Our members across the state are ready to reopen safely. We know from 12 months of experience that we can do this by working together.
And the coalition is against a renewal of MIOSHA rules on April 14th.
Alpena Township's Board of Trustees held a special meeting Wednesday night. The meeting was held via Zoom, where trustees discussed the township's fire department's staffing crisis. The group is still trying to come to a collective decision on the best way to run the department. The good news is there are people still applying to work for the department. Currently, Alpena Township Fire has 2 potential hires, and they look to move forward with extending an offer to the candidates as soon as possible.
We're just waiting for the result of his tests for a go-ahead, and then if the board desires, we'd like to get him on active status as soon as possible once those results come in.
The Board of Trustees voted 4-3 to reach out to the city of Alpena to discuss the possibility of contracting with them to provide service to the township.
A number of employed Americans have recently been victims of a scam, resulting in them having to pay taxes on unemployment benefits they didn't receive. WBKB's Stephanie Minichi has more.
Panic is what many working Americans are feeling this tax season as 1099s are flooding their mailboxes. California resident Darnell Turner says in May he received documents from the state of Michigan to his second home in Philadelphia asking him to verify his unemployment claim. Turner says he immediately reported the claim as fraud, but this wasn't enough.
I was surprised to see a 1099 indicating that I received $5,480 in unemployment benefits, and I had to report that on my taxes.
Turner says he became very frustrated with the state of Michigan, especially after finding out the funds were going to a cash app. So how did this become such a big problem? Professor Stephen Weissman, who teaches white-collar crime at Bethel University, says this stems from an organized cyber crime group out of Nigeria.
They bought the names, social security numbers, and other information of millions of Americans who had been unfortunate enough to be victims of a data breach.
Weissman says prosecuting them will be a challenge.
So far, the Secret Service has identified them, but it's very, very difficult to prosecute them, particularly because they're far away.
Tax preparer Ralph Zerbonia says ignoring notices can result in a levy and suggests steps for filing.
Report the income on your personal return based on the 1099, and then later down further in the return, back out that same number stating that it was not received by you.
Weissman says the best way to protect yourself is to keep your Social Security number as private as possible. He says freeze your credit with the 3 credit reporting agencies and freeze your children's credit too. In Alpena, Stephanie Minichi, WBKB News.
And thank you for that, Stephanie.
Michigan's top 10 consumer complaints for 2020 are announced as part of National Consumer Protection Week. Attorney General Dana Nessel says her office received and processed nearly 24,000 complaints last year. The categories span the gamut from robocalls to price gouging to landlord-tenant disputes. Nessel says her office recovered more than $500,000 last year associated with consumer complaints. We have this story and the list of top complaints posted on our website.
An Alpena County resident recently thanked his guardian angels at Mid-Michigan Health. Butch Grochowski, a farmer and butcher, was severely burned and induced into a 2-week coma after a mysterious fire at his farm last summer. He and his wife lost all of the hay on their farm from the fire, but the community and Mid-Michigan Medical Center stepped in to help the family. And to show their appreciation to the employees at the medical center, Butch and his wife presented staff with an inscribed, handcrafted, etched glass piece. After months of medical care and rehab, Grochowski is doing much better. There's more news for you ahead on WBKB. Coming up, the hunt is on for the biggest tree in Michigan. We'll tell you more after the break.
Up later in the newscast.
Well, thank you for that, Ellie. I'm looking forward to finding out when it's getting warmer. Relief, Michigan is looking for the biggest tree in the state once again. See what we did there? Leaf. The Michigan Big Tree Hunt Contest has now opened their submissions. The biennial contests give away several prizes and has only 3 rules. Relief is awarding the largest tree found by someone 16 or older and the largest tree found by kids 15 and under. They're also awarding for the largest tree found in each county and the largest white pine Michigan state tree. The tree must be living, measured in circumference, and you have over a year to go tree hunting. Submissions are due next August. I've never heard of tree hunting, but something I might do.
Well, there you go. There you go. In health news, why vaping marijuana may be worse than smoking cigarettes and where cases of heart failure in the U.S. are highest. Michael George has some of the day's top health stories.
An analysis of U.S. county health records finds adults living in rural areas experienced higher rates of heart failure and death than adults in urban areas. Researchers from Northwestern University say from 2011 through 2018, some of the highest instances of heart failure deaths happened in rural counties in the South, and the largest increase in cases was among young black men. First-year college students reported symptoms of depression and anxiety significantly more often after the coronavirus pandemic began than before. That's according to a study at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill that found moderate to severe anxiety increased 40% and moderate to severe depression increased 48%. Hardest hit were black students, whose incidence of depression grew by 89%. And University of Michigan researchers find vaping marijuana is associated with more symptoms of lung damage compared to vaping or smoking nicotine among children ages 12 to 17. Adolescents who reported vaping marijuana were about twice as likely to report wheezing and whistling in their chests than those who only vaped or smoked nicotine. Those are some of today's top health stories. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
Coming up on WBKB News, Ellie Morrison is next with your 7-day forecast plus the photo of the day. Stay tuned.
A pair of pileated woodpeckers that visited the Woods bird feeder in late January returned for another visit earlier this week. They seem to have good reviews of Cafe Wood. Janet says they hung around for at least 20 minutes just eating everything. Thanks, Janet, for sending us this photo. If you have a photo such as nature shots, pics with friends, or interesting sights you see that you'd like to send us, email it along with a short description to news@wbkb11.com.
It's almost like it's wearing a little French painter hat or something with the red thing on its head. Sports is coming up next, but first, Jake Vanderbrook is here with a preview. Jake, what's happening?
Hey, Tyler, gotta love rivalries, especially when it comes to Big Ten basketball. And yes, I'm talking Michigan and Michigan State. I'll preview tonight's matchup. Plus, the Detroit Lions plan on releasing one of their veteran cornerbacks. I'll let you know who and when.
Welcome back. A new documentary takes a behind-the-scenes look at growing up in Hollywood in the 90s. And SpongeBob's new movie debuts on the new Paramount Plus. Chris Martinez has those stories and more in today's Eye on Entertainment.
Smiling for once.
Home videos give a unique look at young Hollywood stars growing up in the 90s and the upcoming documentary, Kid 90.
We weren't concerned about the internet. We did the things that teenagers did. We just happened to be in Hollywood.
The footage comes from Punky Brewster star Soleil Moon Frye, who carried a video camera virtually everywhere she went as a teen. She documented hundreds of hours of footage of a group of friends growing up in Hollywood and New York City in the 90s, then locked it away for over 20 years. Kid 90 premieres on Hulu March 12th. Niecy Nash will host the 32nd annual GLAAD Media Awards. The OUT actress will MC the virtual ceremony, which will stream on YouTube and Hulu. The awards recognize various branches of the media for their representation of the LGBTQ community. The GLAAD Media Awards will be held April 8th.
I love my life.
And SpongeBob fans, rejoice. The new SpongeBob movie is now available on demand and on the new Paramount Plus streaming service.
Have you seen Gary?
No.
Nope.
Nope.
Gary's been snail napped.
When SpongeBob's snail Gary goes missing, a path of clues leads SpongeBob and his best friend Patrick on a mission to save his beloved pet. They discover the power of friendship along the way. The SpongeBob movie, Sponge on the Run, is available today. That's your Eye on Entertainment. Chris Martinez, CBS News, Los Angeles.
And that's all we have for you this evening.
You can read more about our broadcast stories and get the scoop on other news items online.
Just visit WBKB11.com for sports, weather, and news updates anytime, day or night.
And check us out on our Facebook page and Twitter handle at WBKB11.
Be sure to catch us back here tonight at 11 with Stephanie Manici. Have a great evening.